Hello everyone, welcome to the first video of my course Introduction to New Zealand Electricity Market. Let's jump into what we will cover in this course. In the first slide, we will be covering about the introduction to New Zealand electricity market, providing you the overview of how the market works, generation mix, and the physical structure of the market, followed by role of different market bodies, market players like the generators and retailers in the market, spot market of how the spot market works, futures market, that is the contracts in the futures market and how the futures market work, the exchange, retail sector and pricing. We will show you how pricing is done for large and small customers. We'll give you the overview of New Zealand gas industry, explain you the story behind the Vai smelter and how it has impacted prices, followed by New Zealand emission trading scheme. I think the most important question is, first of all, where is New Zealand? New Zealand is located in the southwestern Pacific Ocean near southeast of Australia. It is considered part of the region known as Oceania or Australasia. Over here, you can actually see the map of New Zealand and you can see that there are two different islands. So at the top, we have got the North Island and at the bottom, we've got the South Island. The North Island is a part of the New Zealand, is basically the smaller part of the two islands and is located in the northern part of the country. It is home to the country's capital city like Wellington, as well as other major cities such as Auckland and Hamilton. As you can see from the map, South Island is basically the larger of the two main islands and is located in the southern part of the city. Much of New Zealand's electricity generation is basically hydroelectric, and majority of which comes from power station on lakes and rivers in the lower half of South Island, while most of the electricity demand is in the North Island, particularly in the Auckland region. You can actually see a big line which is joining both the islands, and this is called the HVDC line. HVDC is basically an interconnector, a huge 12 megawatt interconnector that connects both the South Island and North Island. It has got a maximum capacity of around 1200 megawatts and it's almost around 610 kilometers long. The HVDC link was basically first commissioned in 1965 and has gone several upgrades over the last couple of years to increase its capacity. The most recent upgrade was basically in 2013, where the capacity increase was by 40%. It increased from 800 megawatts to 1200 megawatts. The HVDC is a pretty important link, particularly for North Island, because when there are days when there's less generation and high demand, then HVDC flow is normally towards the North Island rather than the South Island. As I mentioned in my previous slide, that New Zealand, the major source of generation is basically hydro, and there's a huge amount of hydro which is basically based in South Island. You can see these big blue circles. They're actually showing the capacity of the hydro generation in South Island, while you can see in North Island that North Island is mainly, it's a combination of thermal, wind, solar. There's also a bit of gas and coal as well, which is in North Island, which is very small, which I will cover in the later slides of which power stations are there. But you can see from the figure that there's a huge amount of hydro generation, which is basically based in the lower half of the South Island. So this is the generation mix for the entire New Zealand market, and you can see that more than 50% is hydro, followed by geothermal, and then gas, and then there's wind, and then coal as well. So this information is basically published by Ministry of Business Innovation and Employment, and they publish that annual electricity data to tell you of what the generation mix is looking like. You can see that the generation mix is heavily dominated by hydro. In the next slide, I will show you what the link is, and I have also added the link in my notes, so you can just download the notes and you can go to the page and then see where you can get that information about the New Zealand generation mix, demand, and other related information. So in this graph, you can see the electricity market consumption. What's the share of consumption between different users? And you can clearly see that residential and commercial has actually got the highest share, followed by manufacturing, agriculture, metals, and mining. In terms of the industrial manufacturing and mining, major industries are like food processing, wool, paper, and printing, chemicals, basic metals, and other mining sector. But clearly, it's heavily dominated by the residential and the commercial demand in the figure.